Greetings, Sci-Fiction awesomeness. My name is Owen C. Cotter. You're watching us digitally simulcasting and streaming on all digital channels, including Facebook, Twitch, X, YouTube, and beyond. We are coming to you today. We have an amazing guest joining us here shortly. He is the head of Galaxy Press, also is the host of the Writers and Illustrators of the Future contest, which will be taking place on April 16th, 2026 in Hollywood, California, 42nd annual, I believe. We're going to be bringing him on shortly. I want to show you a few things and bring up some stuff here on the digital awesomeness. We've got the site. We're going to show you some news items here. Lots of goodies, lots of goodies. This thing actually lets you scroll here. That's pretty cool. Let's see what we got here. We got news items. We just did an interview over at WonderCon. This is part one of our interview with the executive producers of For All Mankind, the new Apple TV Plus season 5, actually season 5 of the Apple TV Plus series, with Matt Wolpert and Ben Nadivi. We've got part 2 coming out. They talk about their exploration of space. They talk about everything that's going on with the series. They talk about their future exploration of what they're planning to do. I think there's going to be a season 6 too. A lot of cool stuff in those interview segments. Segment 1 is on the screen right now. Segment 2 will be launched later in the week. Got some stuff about comics. Our news items, we have several news items we want to go over. A lot of stuff we don't have to. I believe John's in the Quantum Leap waiting room. I want to mention one thing here. Ghost Protocol, we're working on that. Ghost Protocol is with Chris McCauley. I'm his agent. I represent him. It's a brand new sci-fi, kind of near-future military thriller universe, bringing in a lot of the military. That's my buddy Shiloh Harris. He's a huge sci-fi geek himself. That's Daniel Gilead, the Helping a Hero Foundation. Does a lot of good work. Our producer friend Brooke. There's me with Shiloh. He's wearing a Spock ears. He's a big trick too. He's at the Breaking Point. That's his podcast for Amazon Prime. This is going to be some stuff going on in Ireland, so stay tuned with that. But without further ado, I'm going to bring on, and is amazing. He's also a podcaster himself, John Goodwin. Bring him on the Starfleet Thrusters now. How's it going, John? How's your day going?
It's going great. Good to see you again, Owen.
Good to see you too. I'm going to turn this screen off here. Let me see. Stop screen. Boom, there we are. Ha! That's awesome, man. I love this software, man. It's so clean and so easy to use. If you have never used the Restream, it's amazing. They just blinged it out with multi-camera angles. I'm putting together a studio here at the office, so I can bring in multi-camera angles and downs and ups and CGI and whatever.
Wow, that's cool. And as long as it's based with your coffee, you're good.
Yeah, I got me some coffee, dude. You got yours too.
Yep.
That's awesome. We got a lot of sci-fi stuff going on, man. I mean, did you hear about, I was just showing everybody about the For All Mankind series in season 5. Have you seen it?
No.
Yeah, that series is cool. It details an alternate history of space exploration. And it's like takes place in the 60s and pushes on for 50, 60 years in the future, profiling an astronaut named Ed Baldwin, played by Joel Kinnaman, I believe the actor's name is. It's a cool series.
It's good.
But you do a lot of stuff in sci-fi as well. Can you tell everybody a little bit about your background in science fiction and what you got going on?
Sure. So I've been involved in publishing since 1986. And so I originally started at the place called Bridge Publications, and there we published all the fiction works and the nonfiction works of L. Ron Hubbard in 2002.
Okay.
Because it was just... during the 80s, it was a heyday. We had Battlefield Earth that came out. It was multiple times in the New York Times. And then we had Mission Earth, which was all 10 books were New York Times bestsellers. But concurrent to that, there was Dianetics, which was on for 100 weeks, New York Times. So what we did was, because booksellers didn't know, where do I put his books? Because he had his Westerns, he had his mysteries, thriller.
And the pulp stuff too from back in the day. Too.
Exactly. So in 2002, we started Galaxy Press, and I was asked to helm that. So I've been the president of Galaxy Press since 2002. And there we publish all the fiction works of L. Ron Hubbard, and that includes all the pulp fiction, which you were alluding to there. He wrote hundreds of stories published, and he under his own and 15 different pen names. There you go, yeah. And so he wrote Westerns, mystery, adventure, science fiction, fantasy. And it's and then the one book you see, The Invaders Plan, that's volume 1 of the Mission Earth. That was the last series that he wrote. That was in the early 80s. and that followed a year after after Battlefield Earth. But these here, this is all the pulp fiction stories. You got then all the different types of story that he wrote in, and all the different pen names, so that he could sometimes he'd have upwards of 3 stories in the same issue under different pen names.
Yeah, this is amazing. You should have got all the compendium of all the pulps here. It looks like in the audiobook collection too.
Yeah, they're really good. And what's cool, what we did with the audiobooks, because this is what you're looking at right now is galaxypress.com. The audiobooks, those are done as radio theaters. So they're all done
nice. Like OG.
Yeah, in a single recording room. So all the actors are sitting next to each other recording these things. So they play off each other. So there's a lot more dynamicness to the stories. So you don't have just a person reading their own individual sound booths and then an audio mixer puts it all together. They're all right there. And it's did a lot of fun. And we did it here in Hollywood. So there's no scarcity of amazing actors we were able to pull from to do these things. But so we released those things in around 2010. So that's a section of 80 audiobooks, but that's 153 stories. Some are short stories all the way up to novellas. And so they're all mixed together in that. And they were all published originally, like in the Astounding Science Fiction and the pulp magazines of the time period.
Old pulps from back in the day. I've got some amazing stories here. 1930 sitting in this box.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, we've got.
There's some buried in there.
Well, when you come to see us, we'll come to the L. Ron Hubbard Library. We have a huge library up on the 4th floor which is just his books, and it's just like, oh my gosh, he wrote all this stuff here. So just amazingly prolific. He was writing about 100,000 words a month. For a lot of his time period as a pulp fiction author. And he was writing 3 days a week, 3 hours a day. The rest of the time he was traveling, doing his, he was a world traveler.
Did he write under a pen name or something?
Yeah, 15 different pen names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I used to do that back in the 30s and 40s and stuff. I remember that.
Yeah. So yeah, it was great, publishing these things here. And we just came back from the Public Library Association, and his mysteries and thrillers and westerns were the ones that were most sought after by the librarians, because I love that stuff. There's Mystery Spy Killer. He was back in the 30s. People traveled maybe 15 miles away from their home, but he'd been to China twice by the time he was 19.
Okay.
And so he befriended the head of the British Secret Service. And so he was able to get a lot of inside information there about what was happening. So the Spy Killer is a very fun story. But we published those. And then we also have a contest, which is what you're coming out to see us for next week, called Writers and Illustrators of the Future. And it was started by L. Ron Hubbard in 1983. And it's it's been going on. This year we're celebrating year 42. And we have There's an Idea Core for. She was published originally in volume 19. This is the volume 42 that's going to be released. And you're going to be really impressed on this. That cover image that you saw there is made into a 14-foot dragon. So that thing, what you see there, it's going to be 14 foot tall next to the Step and Repeat on the red carpet. And then but it's been going on, like I said, for 42 years. And we're celebrating a real special anniversary. It's the fact that we hit 1,000. We're publishing 1,000 writers and artists this year. We hit that mark of 1,000.
That's the gala right there, I believe, with the stage.
That's where you're going to be. Yes. That's amazing. Last year's event. Yeah.
That's gorgeous. And this is held at a building. I believe it's called the
Tagline. The Tagline.
That's right.
There's a lot of Hollywood events happen there. And it's broadcast. We'll probably have the night of. We'll probably have about a million watches, mostly watches.
That'll be on this site here, writersofthefuture.com.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, and then it gets broadcast on a few other networks and stuff like that. So it's something that we're very, very proud of. We have a lot of the biggest names in science fiction fantasy as the judges. It started off. I know that you're a fan of Dune. So Frank Herbert was one of the original judges, and Brian Herbert, now his son, is a judge, and Kevin Anderson. Both Brian and Kevin are the ones.
Jay Anderson, yes.
Yeah, they're doing the prequels to Dune, and they're the they're like executive producers for the Dune movies.
Yeah.
And so they'll be Kevin will be here, and he's got another TV series about ready to launch. I'm sure you can talk to him about that. And then we have let's see. There's the author of Ender's Game. I don't know if you're familiar with
Orson
Scott Card. Yeah. He'll be there. He loves this event. So you got Card there and coming up there, and that's right. And then we also have you go down there, you see where we had Frank Herbert was a judge, and Brian Herbert, and there's Hugh Howey over to the side. He's done the Dune series.
Yep.
And then we've got see, these are all these people here are major international best-selling authors.
Yes.
But if you followed it all, Anne McCaffrey in the Dragon series, the Dragon Rider series, that's her.
Fantasy series, yep.
Yeah. And
there's Larry Niven.
He'll be there. This is his favorite event of the year.
Nice. This is awesome. This is quite a compendium of awesome.
Yeah, amazing people there. And then Tim Powers will be there. He's got 3 World Fantasy Awards. He's won 3 World Fantasy Awards. Brandon's been a judge. Rob Sawyer. These are just amazing people that have done so much for the genre of science fiction and fantasy.
It's the backbone of all the pop culture goodness.
Yeah.
You got illustrators and art as well. You talk about that.
Yeah, so you go to the illustrator side there. So Ed Cartier, he's these are all like amazing golden age artists. So like Ed Cartier, and then you go down a little bit more.
So yeah, Ed Cartier's got a bio here. I know you have bio, so that's really cool.
Yeah. So he was one of a big for Astounding Science Fiction. He was one of the main artists for that. Ciarello, he's flying in from Spain. He's did the cover art for this year's volume.
Okay, he's the one with the dragon.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then let's see, Leo and Diane Dillon. They were in art. He passed away. She's still alive, but they were the first couple that like crossed that barrier, the color barrier in art and illustration. Just they themselves became a world-class team of illustrating science fiction. And she was a guest on a podcast a while ago, and she just talked about how to work because they did everything together. But sometimes, one would be working during the day, the other one at night. And so in the night, then they'd switch what was done in the day. They had to work out agreements on what to do on that. Here you got Will Eisner. He's got the Eisner Award at Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he was really enjoyed supporting the new young artists.
That's cool. This is quite a compendium of people and stuff here.
Yeah. Frank Frazetta, he's like the dean of illustration. Larry Elmore is the one that came up with the Dragonlance art, and he also
my buddy was a huge Dragonlance reader when I was a kid.
Yeah, so that's him. He's the one that created that stuff. Frank Kelly Freeze, he was also one of the masters during the golden age of illustration. He did just amazing stuff. And then
you got Jack Kirby.
Jack Kirby was a judge. Yeah, a legend.
You've got some actors and other people there. Mobius, that's a good one there too.
Yeah. I never met Mobius, but last year at Frankfurt at the book fair, I met his kids, and so it was, or actually his grandkids, and so it was. They were so fun to interview and to be with. So it was, it was great. But we've got some amazing, people supporting the contest and keeping it going, and especially in the writer side. Several of them got their start from the contest. I mean, it's been going on for over 4 decades now. So, that's
amazing. So the awards, you said like up and coming writer, people that are submitting, like what is the awards about? A little bit, talk a little about the awards and how that works and how you get submitted and all that.
So all the winners, they start arriving tomorrow. And we got winners from 9 different countries. So they start arriving. And just for people that don't know, Writers of the Future is a free contest to enter, and Illustrators of the Future. And you can see it there if you look on the left side on the banner there, you see enter illustrator contest, enter writer contest. So you can enter the contest, and it's free to enter. And it's judged blind. So what gets sent to the judges, when you submit, you can't have your name on the story. You have a cover page that you fill out with all your facts and figures and data, but a number is assigned to that story, and that's all the judges see. So they have no idea of your nationality, your age, your ethnic, your sex, anything. That's just, they see
just that you saw, wrote something or drew something.
Yeah. And then for the artist, same thing. You submit 3 pieces of art, 3 illustrations, and same thing. You can't have your name on it, and you fill out a form so that those 3 pieces are assigned to that number, and then that's all the judges see is a number with your art. And so the judges select who the winners are, and as administration, none of us here know anything on the decision making. It's all done by the judges. They send us number this, number that, number the other thing. They're the winners, and then we find out who that is. So we don't otherwise we have no say in it. The winners, or actually anybody, maintains full rights to your work. So that's something that is a problem with some contests. When you submit to a contest, you sign over your rights to your work as well. And so this one, you maintain your rights. If you win, we publish it first, and then you can publish it. So we have the ebook, the print book, like a trade paperback, and an audiobook. And
the audiobooks are cool. Can they submit those, or that's translated off after the writing?
That's done after the story's done. I'm in the middle. I'm taking a break right now for this interview. I'm in the middle of doing quality control on 42 audiobook.
Very cool.
Yeah. So it's amazing the added dimension that an audiobook can provide to a story. I read a lot because I got the podcast that I do, which we're going to be talking about, you being a guest on mine as we reciprocate a little bit down the road here. But it's so the contest is free to enter. We have entries from over 175 countries. We've had winners from 52 countries. The winners are flown out to a week-long workshop here in Hollywood, and right behind me here is Hollywood Boulevard, and then to my right, about 75 yards, is the Roosevelt Hotel where everybody's going to be staying. And right across,
that hotel's got some history about that.
It definitely does. Yeah. So I don't think the water that was there when Marilyn Monroe swam is still there, but the pool's still there.
Right, pool's there.
Yeah. But it's like I said, the contest is free to enter. You maintain the rights. The contest flies the winners out to Hollywood. The contest puts you up in the hotel, and the contest foots the bill for the amazing gala, which after the fact, is we want to be able to set up and do an interview with you on Friday after the gala, because your perspective will be enhanced. Let's just say like that.
What time is the interview? By say, if you had the guest,
I was going to ask you, but it's like mid-afternoon, like 3:30.
Because I need to check. We fly in the 14th, 15th, and 16th. The event. I don't know when we fly off the 17th. We fly in somewhere.
Oh, I thought you were leaving on Saturday. But anyway, okay, good. Okay,
so
we'll be in touch after this to see what the thing is.
I'd love to do an interview there for sure.
Yeah, and then the other thing about it is that Mr. Hubbard, when he created the contest in '83, he said, okay, he endowed the contest. He said, okay, I'm doing this, and he saw to it before he passed that the contest will continue to be funded. So this is all paid for by L. Ron Hubbard. So he's, that whole quote right there, culture is as rich and capable of surviving as it has imaginative artists. That's part of the opening essay to volume 1 of Writers of the Future. So his whole thing, when he wrote Battlefield Earth, he did in his intro, he considered that science fiction was the herald of possibility. And he said it was those original science fiction writers that brought about enough talk and enough discussion and enough agreement to go into space. And they really put the pedal to the metal like an early. And they were doing, like we need to do something to get off this arms race and get onto a space race. So they started writing stories and created that. But this book here is just one of the most popular science fiction books of all time, almost 5 million copies sold. The audiobook won the Audio Award, and it's did I give a copy of that to you yet?
I do have a copy of that.
Okay, yeah.
It's good. It's right here.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's an amazing, that's right. It's an amazing, that's a thumb drive that has all 42 hours on it.
That's amazing because a lot of people they get them on Audible. I like to just plug and play and listen to stuff.
Yeah.
It's easy while working
Yeah.
and
It's
stuff.
got 67 actors, over 150,000 sound effects. And when we created this, if you needed a sound effect, and we didn't have it, it was made. And
Oh,
then,
okay, like Ben Burt from Star Wars or something. That's awesome.
yeah. And then
Very cool.
the aliens were separated from the humans by running through a synth, so that it made a little bit of a different, like, alien sounding
Sounds
to
cool
it.
too. It sounds awesome.
Yeah. So it really, really is. So we're very excited to be able to see you there too.
I appreciate it. I'm excited to see you as well, man. This is gonna be a lot of fun, man. This is a blast. I'm a huge sci-fi geek, as you know, so this will be a good time.
Yeah. And we've also got Jannicke Mikkelsen. She's the first astronaut for Norway.
Okay.
And she was appointed in 2024. She was appointed the spacecraft commander of the SpaceX Dragon mission Fram 2. And it was the first mission to circumnavigate the polars.
Her name, what was her name again?
Jannicke, Jannicke Mikkelsen, Mikkelsen. She's Norwegian. Okay. She's the first Norwegian astronaut. And then we're also going to have Kevin Anderson here too, which will be great. He's up to his eyeballs in a new TV series he's working on. Plus, he's a consultant executive producer for the third Dune movie, Dune Prophecy.
Yes.
Well, that's Dune Messiah. Dune Prophecy is a TV series, but Dune Messiah is the final installment of the Dune trilogy.
That's the third one coming out, I believe, this coming year.
Denis Villeneuve, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. I like the first. I thought the second was amazing too, man. All those films are great.
I think it's fun. I was so thoroughly disappointed in the first couple iterations of the Dune movies that when this came out, I was like, all right, good. I'm going to just enjoy this now.
The David Lynch one, even though it's dated, it did have some cool special effects. It held up pretty decent over the years.
Just the one that with Sting in there, it was just like, it was so much stuck in your head thinking, wasn't the action, it was just thinking. And so thinking aloud stuff. And I was like, okay, that wasn't my cup of tea. But this definitely is. I love the series, the trilogy so far. The way
plus they broke it into 3 parts, which is super cool. They didn't do that with any of the other films.
Yeah, no, that was, that's a problem that sometimes epic science fiction and fantasy movies can have, where they try to jam it all into one. So you cut out so much that all of a sudden it's not the story, and then the super fans don't jump into this rescue to say, hey, no, this is good, because they never, it's not the book.
Yeah. And the original 65 book, I mean, it takes place on Arrakis, which, if people haven't read the book, is a desert planet where the royalty of the Atreides family go to, without spoiling it. And the whole big battle scene, the whole big thing goes on. They're trying to basically take out the Atreides family to the Harkonnens, the Harkonnen Empire. So,
yeah. And they're pretty disgusting family, the Harkonnens. They're pretty gnarly. So you definitely have the good versus the evil. And
plus, there's a spirituality concept in there
definitely.
too, kind of like the Force in Star Wars, with the sleeper has a. Can you talk a little bit about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, just in there, I know that Paul Atreides, they have the, I'm not totally keen on the spice melange that he gets himself,
right.
He needs to take that in order to do this, but it was just the whole idea of being a spirit and being able to be outside your body. And so that's a really cool thing. And that's something that fantasy and science fiction can actually pull off, and people can kind of like accept that. And personally, I think that, well, that's more the truth than not. But if people are willing to suspend any disbelief they may have and just like, wow, this is really cool. It makes sense too when you get down to it, and so, the story is really good, and you got great actors in there and good script. So I don't remember, it's been so long since I've read it, how close it is, but I seem to think that it's pretty close to the actual storyline in the book.
Yeah, the movies that Denny did are absolutely phenomenal. They stick pretty tight to it. And I like what's the guy that played Thane? The guy that was originally Sting. It was, what's the guy's name? Austin Butler, something like that. He played Elvis. Yeah, he did that role phenomenally, man.
Yeah, there's some great actors. They definitely worked for it. And I mean, they have a budget, and that makes a big difference. You have a budget that pays for the quality actors, pays for quality sound effects. You got the time to do it right. You can build the right, SFX for
What are
your.
your thoughts on originally like Lynch had Patrick Stewart as Gurney? What are your thoughts on Josh Brolin? I thought he did a great job on it.
He did awesome. I'm like all the different actors in it right now. I'm just like, yeah, he nailed it with what they got there.
Yeah.
These are really good, and I'm definitely anxious for episode 3 to come out.
Yeah.
And that was a problem I had with Star Wars, where at the beginning, like the Force was a spiritual thing, and then when you back to the volume 1, 2, and 3, it became bugs in the bloodstream. And at that point, I stopped watching.
Midi-chlorians.
It was just like, oh, come on. It's just like, that is so degrading to any concept of spirituality. So I just kind of like, at that point, I was done with Star Wars. But
the Force was basically the original versions of the Force. Well, it's kind of like the Joseph Campbell mythology system, so that's what Lucas had gone after, the hero's quest, the hero's
journey,
Arthur.
Yeah, I even had what's the director that won the Oscar on that first one. He was the one created the set.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh,
I remember.
Was it John Dykstra?
No.
That was the special effects guy. Let's ask you a question on the director of Star Wars. Because there's 3 directors. There was Ivan Kershner, which was the one from the original director of Star Wars. You get this. I love the internet, don't you? Irving Kershner and Richard Marquand. Irving Kershner was the second. George Lucas was the first one.
Yeah, there's the one that did the special effects. The
that would be Dykstra and Richard Edlund and Lauren Peterson worked on there as well, I believe. And not to mention Phil Tippett. That's another legend of stop motion animation. Took over after the Ray Harryhausen kind of era.
Star Wars.
You got several directors here. There's a lot. You're talking about the old ones, right?
Yeah, from the first one.
The director would be Lucas, Irving Kershner, and Marquand. Those are the 3 for the third one.
Yeah. No,
those films are legendary, man. I mean, like, are you familiar with the relationship like that? Because you had American Zoetropic when they did the first one we did before Star Wars is THX 1138. That was with Robert Duvall, based on a student film, I believe he did back.
No, I didn't see that one there, but it's several of those earlier in the 1950s. There was also the what was that XXX? There were the old radio shows that were done back then.
Yes. He was a big fan of those, as well as the Flash Gordon stuff, the Buck Rogers stuff. They got the old pulp audio dramas like The Shadow, Space. What's the other one? The Lone Ranger. All those era 1930s pulp sci-fi. And
I think Roger Christian is the name I was trying to remember.
Roger Christian, I met him. He created the lightsaber.
Yeah. He did, and all those special effects he created there. It's an amazing story of how he came up with the lightsaber. But he got that Oscar for the movie number 1. But no, with one thing we're proud of too is that we've got with Writers of the Future and the winners, we've got so many like people connected directly with the. Yeah, there we go. He's been a guest a couple times on my podcast, and I toured with him when we came out with the Battlefield Earth movie. And
he's cool to talk to. He knows his stuff.
He definitely knows his stuff. He lives up in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
But I know with the whole thing with science fiction is, it branches off in different directions. I'm definitely, because I work with a lot of astronauts and engineers and stuff. One of the guys coming that I'll introduce you to, Rob Hogg, is the director.
Mars
he's director of the Mars Rover project on Mars right now, and so he's a cool guy to talk to. And we'll also have Harry Kluwer. I don't know if you've met him.
That name sounds very familiar.
Yeah, he's a guy that graduated with 2 PhDs in science the same week. He's a total brainiac, but he's also a producer now, and he's the one that helped me to get Yannicka as the
Okay.
He was also a keynote speaker about 10 years or so ago.
Yeah.
But we have these guys and they talk about how science fiction was their inspiration. When they were kids, they read and like, oh, wow, I want to be able to do that. I wonder if I can do that. And so one guy who was the director of Ames Research Labs for NASA, he talked about he used to get in trouble. There she is. There's Yannicka. So I'll just finish off with him. So he said he used to get in trouble in school because in history class, the teacher would come up and he'd have his history book, but he put a Pulp Fiction book in between the cracks of his book. So he'd be reading a Pulp Fiction story. Nice. And the teacher would say, what are you reading? I say, I'm reading future history, the history of the future.
That's awesome.
So that's what he was. But Yannicka, she's got an amazing story. When she was a little girl, she had a bad accident, horse riding. Horse fell on her and she became paralyzed. She's a paraplegic for 5 years. Wow. So she became a total geek on the computer and learned computers. So she was working with NASA on using 3D graphics and stuff like that, working with them. And then she worked herself back up to connecting her brain to her legs and able to like start walking again. Then she became for Norway, she was number 3 in the 3,000 meter speed skating. And
wait, speed skating? Wow,
yeah, so awesome. She was like definitely from total disaster to a total amazing person. And then from there she was invited to she wanted to be an astronaut, and absolutely. So then she trained, and she's going to be out here. When we called her to invite her to be the keynote speaker, she said, "When is it?" And we said, "Okay, it's the 16th." She said, "You won't believe this, but when we got married, she and her husband a couple of years ago, she was in training for space, so they had to postpone their honeymoon." Said, as it turns out, we're going to be on the beach here in LA during that time. So they're here now. So wow. So we're going to put them up in our hotel for several nights if they're on the mission. I mean, on their honeymoon, and she'll be the keynote speaker, and she'll be doing interviews and stuff like that. And then they'll finish their honeymoon and fly back to Norway. She's just a lovely person. Her husband was a Navy SEAL in the Norway military. So he's a serious dude as well. Just a lovely couple. So we're so excited to have her. She's got a great presentation she's put together.
So she's going to be the keynote at the Writers and Illustrators.
Yes. Yes. And then we have the head of the Independent Book Publishers Association, which is like the biggest publishers association right now in the United States, is going to be presenting a special award commemorating 1,000 writers and artists being published.
That's a very special. Who is that going to be going to? One person or a group of people?
That goes to Writers of the Future. Emily will be the one picking it up. She'll be receiving it. And then I got a nice certificate also from LA City Council, so that's good. So we just do things to recognize, and we're getting amazing reviews from this year's volume, which is just.
It's a gorgeous cover. Man, look at that cover. It's awesome, dude.
Yeah, that's Ciarello. He's the guy who's coming in from Spain. Yep. He's like, he's done some of the Aragon dragons for the Aragon series. Yep. And so he's just such a super nice guy. He was from originally Argentina. Then he went to Spain, and it's just, that's where you're going to be next week.
You said there's good food too, right?
Yeah.
Really good food, yeah.
Scott Card, he'll be there. This is his favorite. He loves Writers of the Future. And then Nadia Corafor, she's up for, she's won so many different awards. But anyway, this is the audiobook, the ebook, and the print book for Writers of the Future. Echo Chernick is our coordinating judge for the writers. Right. And then, Kevin Anderson. He'll be there. And then
it's a great quote, man. That quote is solid gold, man.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. And what's great too, because I used to go out, you're talking about like this channel here you got from Sci-Fi Channel when they channeled it, when they turned it off. And I used to go to Sci-Fi Channel, and I almost got our pulps into movies a couple times. And I enjoyed going out there to meet with the folks and it was I'm trying to remember the guy I used to go out and see. It was what's his name? Sci-Fi Channel.
You were owned by several people that hopped around, and they rebranded as SYFY, and then because the SciFiction used to be, I did a little research on it, was a Hugo Nebula Award-winning literary journal by Sci-Fi, but it was run by Ellen Datlow, who worked on Omni magazine. We talked about this with Ben Bova before he passed away. We were
Ben Bova was a judge for us too earlier on.
And Ben was a good guy, man.
Yeah,
got stories, man. He's a cool cat, dude.
Yeah.
Very
yeah,
cool.
so it's amazing because you got so many stories yourself from your experiences in chatting with people. So you're going to find a lot of cool people to talk to here. We'll also have at our event Lydia Van Vogt. Now, Lydia is the widow of A.E. Van Vogt, and a great legend of pulp fiction.
What's her name again?
Lydia.
Lydia?
Yeah, and she was the translator for Eisenhower in World War II. So she traveled with him because she spoke like 6 languages. So she traveled with him on his Jeep as his personal translator. And she told the story too when the war was, was coming to its close. And they went to, I think it was Auschwitz, and they drove in there. And
the Jewish camp, yeah.
Yeah, and they saw the mountain of bodies. And it was just, Eisenhower said, okay, turn around. So he just turned around and they left. But when I talked to her about it a couple of years ago, she still got teary-eyed about it because it was just so devastating what the Germans did, what the Nazis did. Let me clarify that. The Nazis, not
Nazis,
the Germans.
Yeah. Hitler.
Yeah. And so then after the war, he became president of the United States, and then he got her a visa and brought her to the United States, got her citizenship, and then she became a model for some of the high-end stores in New York, fashion stores. And then that's when she met up with Van Vogt, A.E. Van Vogt. And then they moved out to Los Angeles, and she met Hubbard herself once. They had lunch with him once. But she'll be coming, and she'll dress up in her Chanel dress that she has. She has Chanel dresses and high heels. And I think 3 days on the 19th of April, she turns 99. And she still walks around, hikes around. She still's in her high heels, and she's
sounds like Shatner. He's 95. He's still rocking and rolling like a rock star too.
Yeah, she is such a class act. So I'm anxious to introduce you to her as well.
Very cool. The event's a black tie event, I believe, down here, correct?
Yep.
And it's can you talk a little about the red carpet? What's going to be going on with that? I believe that's 3 to 5, right?
Yeah. So we'll have because we have a Chinese winner, Japanese winner. We have the artist for the cover from Spain. We have Slovakian winner, UK winner, Canada winner. So because we have all these winners, we're going to have media representing these different countries as well to interview them. So we'll have a lot of Chinese media, and we're getting it put together right now. But we'll have easily between 20 and 30 media will be there on the red carpet to interview the winners and judges and VIPs. And that goes on actually for the 2 hours. And it's a very special event because it's considered the Oscars of science fiction and fantasy. It's the only event of its kind for the genre. People usually come to these events. They wear their flip-flops and their shorts and their Hawaiian tie and stuff like that. And that's what they come and they'll accept their awards dressed like that. And this is a different thing. We're just saying, no, image is important. And for us, we've been doing this thing, like I said, for 42 years. And it's a big deal, though, because it's getting, 1 million views. It's important that you present yourself properly because it's also archived on YouTube. And then we make these individual smaller videos of each of the winners. So it becomes something they can put onto their for their CV, their, what they've done before, and it helps to present them. So in 2025, there are over 4 million books published. That's just a lot. And so how do you get yourself heard? How do you get your hand above the others, your voice heard above the other, the din of people saying, read me? And Writers of the Future becomes a really good vehicle for that. And it's because you've got the big names like Kevin Anderson, Scott Card, Larry Niven, et cetera, saying, these are the guys to listen to or to read and to look,
Yeah.
then it's something that you're going to like, it's worth your while to make sure you make a good view of yourself, because face it, like right now we're both sitting next to each other on the screen here. So I can be a total jerk and you can be a really nice guy. And so now we're in an interview now with an editor. And I'm like being, just jerky, and you're being nice and, properly mannered.
Yeah.
And with that many people trying to get stuff published, who would you pick and we all write equally good. Who would you pick as an author to take on board, or as an artist?
Well, that's a good question. I want to mention something to you here.
Yeah.
So I've been sitting, I'm getting my buddy who's a huge, massive sci-fi geek, and he's a military veteran. He's been texting with me on the side. I noticed he popped up. That's Shiloh Harris.
The
military. Yeah, he's a good buddy of mine. We made friends this year, and he's just a sci-fi geek. My buddy, I think I told you about him. We're doing a kind of a near future sci-fi thriller called Ghost Protocol, and we're bringing in a lot.
To me? Did you?
Yeah, I can see his link right now in the chat. This thing here is interesting. So this article is on the side. I want to bring this up. We're talking about writers. A lot of the military are coming in. We're going to create characters out of all the military and the foundations. But that's me and Shiloh on his pod. He's wearing a Spock ears. He's a huge Trekkie too. That's Ballymena Academy. Now, the writer of this, I'm his agent and my client, good friend Chris McCauley. They're dedicating the library at Ballymena after him. And we've been getting audio file. Like this morning, I got a David Tennant just sent an audio file in, congratulating him on that thing. And for Doctor Who, we've been getting just massive amount of A-list and top-level pop culture people. This is a big thing because what we're going to be doing is with the library for the dedication or naming it after my client and buddy Chris, we're going to use this to inspire the next generation of writers and people and literary people in his home country of Ireland and the world. So we're going to basically be doing.
He's in Ireland? That's in Ireland?
He lives in Alberta. He's from this town, Ballymena, near Belfast in Ireland. I'll be flying into Ireland on, I think the ceremony is tentatively at the end of May 29th. He's flying in the 27th or 28th. So we're all converging on Ireland to celebrate not that, but literature and his dedication and his contributions to pop culture and inspiring, people across the board to follow their dreams and all that. So,
wow, that's very cool.
It's very tied into science fiction. That's why I mention it.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got the guy that he's got a science fiction fantasy convention in Ireland. He'll be here. I'll be able to meet him. And
where is that? What province is that at?
Let's see. I'm just trying to look up real fast while we're.
Yeah, I'm originally, my family back lineage is Cotters from County Cork County, Ireland. And my grandfather got to go there. It's about 4 hours from the Belfast area down there. I don't know if I'll be able to visit them. We're going to go back though.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So it's we're just very, very excited because we have so many people coming to this event, and
internationally,
because I can only fit like 320 people in there in the hall. So we have to be very,
right.
Not snooty, but exclusive, because there's so many people that
fire hazard too if you have too many people.
That wouldn't get in there. But just in terms of, because it's a real fancy dinner. It's just an amazing steak and salmon, and they have a double kitchen there, so everything's made really, really fresh. So that normally when you get these big banquets, you get the stuff and they keep it in a warmer, so it's just all kind of kind of not so good. So
this is premium steak, premium salmon.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, you'll appreciate what it is when you're done. Some of the people saying like, "Who's the contact? I need to have my events here too." So a lot of Hollywood.
Look at that ballroom. I mean, gee whiz, wow.
Yeah, and that whole stage, the actual stage, is the cameras. It's a 6-camera event, so we have 6 cameras shooting the event. So the stage that you're on there, that you see it from, is the normal stage. That whole thing is built for this event. That whole stage there is built just for this event. So next Monday, Emily goes out there as the producer of the event, and they start, they'll site the stage and they'll put it down, and then they build the whole thing up. They put in the racks, they put in the screens, and then the stairs. All that stuff is put in by us, and then by 4.
Emily, for people that don't know, is your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
she's
Usually with the event.
amazing. So right now she's finishing putting together and sending to the production company all the
This is
the
gorgeous. This
pieces.
whole setup is just phenomenal. This just looks
Yeah.
like the Academy Awards, like you said.
Well, that's what it is. It's referred to as
Yep.
that. So that's black
Science
tie.
fiction.
Yeah. So it's really, really nice. And one of the amazing moments for the winners also is, I'll go over a little bit too what happens during the week. But when this event's over with, there's the big book signing. Everybody goes out into the open reception area. And we have tables set there. All the winners sit down there, and then you got all these people coming around. Can I have your autograph? And for them, it's totally surreal to have Orson Scott Card, Larry Niven, Kevin Anderson saying, "Can you please sign my book for me?" Because it's such a reverse vector of what they're used to.
Flip of the coin.
Yeah. But during the week at that workshop, one of the most touching events will happen this Sunday. It's coming Sunday. It's called the art reveal. So the writers haven't seen their art yet. So they don't know who their illustrators are, and the illustrators don't know who their writers are either. So halfway through the first day of the workshop on Sunday, we put up easels and we put up all the art on the easels, and then we have the illustrators stand on the outside of the room.
So it's an exhibition there at the event.
Yeah, and then we open the doors and we let the writers walk in, because their workshop is on the 4th floor. The illustrators are on the 1st floor. So we set everything up on the 1st floor. The writers come downstairs, and then they walk in, and they have to find their art. Once they pick out their art and they see what it is, then the illustrator comes and introduces themselves. And it's such an emotional event because the artists are totally freaked out that nobody's going to find their art. They're not going to recognize it as that story. It's never happened, but every year they're all freaked out about it. So it's a really emotional, because once they find it and they go, "Oh, I love it," then the tears start coming down, and it's just all the big hugs and everything. It's just it's a real special event, and that's called the art reveal.
Solid gold. How did y'all come up with that motif to get that? Is just like kind of came to the top of your head, or
it came up because when we wanted to reveal the art, we realized this is an event. This was like 35 years ago. We realized, oh, this is an event in and of itself. So then it's evolved, and so now we've got something that works really good. But we have different places we've held it. We've done different ways of doing it, and then now we've kind of come to a point where it used to be done later in the week, but which was a total pain, because we didn't want the writers to know who their art was until it was properly revealed. So we have to tape up the books and all kinds of stuff. So now what we do is the writers' workshop starts on Saturday. The illustrators' workshop starts on Sunday. So Sunday mid-afternoon, we do this reveal event. So then we get that out of the way, so they know who their partner is. They know what their art looks like, and they all get a copy of the art, color framed, that they can take home with them. And it's and then for the rest of the week they can get together, because we have the workshop that goes from between 8:30 and 9 o'clock in the morning till usually around 6 o'clock. A couple of days it goes into the evening, but otherwise once the day's workshop's over, then we have LobbyCon, or more affectionately known as BarCon, and that's where they go there.
That's at the Roosevelt. You were telling me about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then on Tuesday, when we have the barbecue, that's a meet and greet type thing. That's when all the judges are there, and the writer winners, the illustrator winners, and they all get to meet each other and just kind of like chat. And so that's an opportunity for the writers to come up and just, chat with their favorite judges, and just get to know them. And people become really good friends. And sometimes the judges will take a winner under their wings and introduce them to their agent or to their editor.
So they kind of get a networking aspect into it as well, to take their career off in some form of fashion. That's really cool.
Patrick Rothfuss was introduced to his agent and editor from Kevin Anderson, and that's how he got his start. He was, I think maybe people are starting to go into apathy on if Volume 3 is ever going to come out of his series, but Volume 1
coming out. It'll be out one day.
One day, yes. Hopefully, while I'm still alive. But it's but he got his start with this. We've had definite, writers get their start from this contest, And so it's been really, really good. And it's just the one thing about what we do, and we've talked about and we shared that as a common thing, is we share in the support or encouragement of the genre. There's enough stuff out there that'll shoot you down, that will, like, the naysayers, the guys that say, oh, that's just a bunch, that's a bunk. Oh, they can't write.
I was talking to Todd McFarlane about, they say he's been rejected like 300 or 400 times with art and writing and stuff. Man.
Yeah. And Kevin Anderson has got he received his first trophy he ever won, which is at a convention in the Bay Area, said something to the effect of the author least likely to succeed. And it's just, that's terrible, that kind of stuff. And that's not what we're about. We've got we have a forum that each year we win the best science fiction and fantasy forum, writing forum. And it's, we got basically one rule, you get one warning. If you come in there and anything that's, any dissing, any negativity, you get one warning. You do it a second time, you're banned. Right. Just, if you want somebody to give you a bunch of grief, just log on to Facebook or Twitter or something like that.
The trolls and all the little comments.
Exactly. So it's a closed thing. You can come and lurk. You're fine to come and lurk and just see what's on there. But in order to participate, you need to register. But then that helps us to control comments on it, so we're not going to have anything negative on it. And that's
that way it's part of it. Open source like Facebook or something like that.
Yeah. And the same thing with the podcast that I do, because it's gotten very popular. I had Trisha Levenseller, that was the first romance fantasy story I ever read. But after 7 years, I need to keep on expanding out and get different things there. But she's multiple #1 New York Times bestseller. But that one there came in at 3.7 million listens. So
this is just the SoundCloud embed. The other ones on the other thing is millions and millions of views. I saw that. That's amazing.
Yeah. So this is what I archive on here. The United Public Radio Network. That's when it's got 3.5+ million listens each week on that podcast. I wish there was a way I could translate that onto my numbers here, so you can see, like, wow, because
there might be a way to do that. This is just the SoundCloud widget. You said you're using what system, what radio station to do that?
UPRN, United Public Radio Network.
Okay, if you connect that, there's got to be a way with a widget-based system, like maybe iHeart or Spreaker or something like that, to convert it into an upload. Like when you go live, it archives it in there.
I'll check with him. Well, he's going to be also here, so I'll have you guys talk shop.
Yeah.
And I've also got Jason, who's the guy that handles our technical here, and he totally gets in. He loves geeking out on that type of stuff.
Not to mention, we're bringing my guest down there, Tom Danheiser, a Coast to Coast AMC.
I know. We're anxious to see him. Yeah, and because we've had multiple of our people to be here have been guests on Coast to Coast.
Coast is awesome.
What's that?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Coast is awesome. It's amazing.
Yeah. Joe Montalto's been on it several times. Rob Hogg's been on it. Kevin Anderson, several of our judges have been on it. I think I was on it many years
Leonard
ago.
Nimoy's son was on there not too long ago. Adam Nimoy, I believe.
Yeah, they've got a definite challenge to keep that thing built up, because it's a 3-hour show. It's 5 days, 6 days.
Every night. George is out there pumping it out to the AMs all over the West Coast and east of the Rockies, west of the Rockies.
Yeah, I went to it's been about 10 years now, but I went to his birthday party in the Contacting the Desert event. So we chatted with him a bit there at his birthday party. But yeah, he's definitely got quite the challenge to keep it fresh, keep it alive every day. But this is great too. You've got these things so alive too. Just checking what you've got, before coming in here, just seeing your site, what you're doing here, just like, it's so dynamic. This is way cool.
We built it to basically showcase the best, not just trending news, but artists, creators. We have a whole international fleet of writers and artists that we work with on a daily basis, a weekly basis. Well, actually daily, but we update the site every day. Social medias, we've got channels all over the board. Like, here's your channels here: Facebook, X, Insta, YouTube, SoundCloud, Tumblr. We got a massive following on that as well, and TikTok, but we can't program it in because of the stuff. So. But so we've got all this stuff in here. I mean, I appreciate the compliment. We've been working on this rendition. If you go all the way to the bottom, most people don't see it. Let me go here. I'll show you something that maybe people don't know. Some people may know. These are the archives here on the right. we started the new site on January 22nd of 2020, January 2022. So this year is our first 5-year mission coming up in this year.
Wow.
Now the site has been in my possession since about 2009. We had some various iterations, and we were going to originally create it into a social network, but then the IP addresses and Facebook and Twitter and all that came out. So I'm like, why don't we create it into a global information portal for science fiction? So I originally had it on Tumblr. And under David Karp's leadership, actually sent me a letter, did a full staff write-up, and then sent me a letter about a week or so later saying, hey, we want to put you in recommended and trending. So every time we need to pump that a little bit more. We got so many channels, but when we put something in that, it pops to the top of Tumblr. And we love Tumblr because it's been cleaned up. It's all about WordPress now, by the way. There's a big write-up and a big podcast, actually, that the CEO of WordPress did, expressing his passion. A lot of sci-fi contenders, Sci-Fi Channel, Will Wheaton, all those guys have channels on there. So it's interesting.
Wow.
Tumblr is, we need to update a little bit more than we usually do, but here's Tumblr here. This is our Tumblr. We've got tens of thousands of subscribers on the back end of this. This is a toy we did with the VR thing for Roddenberry. It's been doing that. There's a lot of stuff.
I'm not seeing anything. I don't have a problem looking at your face, but that's all I'm seeing.
Oh, that's right. I'm going to place the screening here. Place. So many buttons here on this thing here. Let's see what we got. There you go, right there. There it is. There it goes. So we got here. I don't know. It's not doing something. We stop all screen share and replace. This is cool because this thing gets overloaded like the time circuits on the DeLorean.
I'm just waiting for also Sprock Zarathustra to start coming on.
There it is. That's awesome. I love this thing, man. Because you can do all kind of crazy, wild stuff with this. But yeah, that's right. It was on the other signature. So this thing here is the Tumblr. And we've done a lot of news and events. This is like, I haven't updated this thing in a while, but this is like me interviewing Ming Chen from Comic Man. It's me and Stan Lee back. And that's a little bit, not as much white hair as then.
Yeah.
It just goes on.
It was your younger brother.
Yeah, it's my younger brother. There's, some of these are charity events. Some of these aren't. It's Jeff Rector's Saturn Award.
Yeah, he'll be at the event.
Yeah, Jeff's awesome. He's good people.
Yeah, he'll be there. He'll be there Thursday.
Bob Picardo. Yeah, that's me and Jeff. It's a funny story. So that's me and Jeff at his house. He had an event. That's me and I was a little thinner then. I actually backed almost that way now. But these are all the legends of science fiction. There's just tons of stuff. I mean, I don't really show many people this, but it gets crazy. Like me and Brent, and that's when I was real thin there. Me and Gandhi's grandson. But this is the Tumblr archives of all the content. There's thousands of pieces of stuff on here. And we've got, of course, the Facebook and all the other stuff that was on the social. But the site itself, I think and I'm really honored to say this, we're about to break 350,000 digital subscribers, which is incredibly hard to do in this algorithmic digital age that we have on the social media. And the whole reason I built this thing and wanted to acquire it from Sci-Fi, which was not easy, was to turn it into a showcase of all the best of sci-fi, get the interviews and the podcasts like people like yourself, John, and everything else on the awesomeness. I appreciate the compliment on that. Really.
Yeah, no, this is very, very cool.
Yeah, but your event is very, very cool as well. Can you tell people again when it's going to be and how do people find out about it and where it's going to be seeing it?
So it's going to be this coming Thursday, the 16th, or not tomorrow Thursday, but a week Thursday. So that's, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the countdown.
Yes, I did see a ticker there.
Yeah, a little ticker there. So it's Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time.
Days, 5 hours. It's like the time circuits on the DeLorean, man.
Yeah, there we go. And so it'll be up there. And then we start promptly at 7 o'clock because we're promoting it like we're going to start. And so we're not going to do this thing. And then all of a sudden it goes black screen, or you get people, it's going to start at 7 o'clock. So we work backwards from that. That's a pretty hard start. And then, so we have the media check-ins at 2:30 to 3. And then we have the red carpet from 3 to 5.
Yes.
And then we have the dinner starts at 5, and that goes until 7. And that's when the event starts. We also, for the people there, we have an hour-long slideshow that will play up on either of these two screens of shots, photos going back 42 years to the very beginning.
Like the history.
Yeah, the history. And so people can see it. And every now and then, there I am. There's, and they'll just point out different people that they recognize over the years. but we have a lot of science fiction and fantasy aficionados and folks there, and we have various people that are involved in Hollywood activity, Hollywood proper. They'll come to. We'll have a table or two for them, just to be able to, because I try to be very involved with the Hollywood. We also host the Hollywood Christmas Parade.
Okay, that's very cool.
So we'll have that one. There is a much bigger event, obviously, but the whole side of our street will have like 200 media there. That's a whole different thing.
It's like the Macy's Day Parade of Hollywood.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the biggest public event in Hollywood, in Los Angeles. So we're very excited about that. So that's the other one. So some of the people come to that and they want to be able to join us here for this too. So we invite them. But it's it's just.
When does that take place? Christmas Eve or Christmas Day?
It actually that parade takes place the Sunday after Thanksgiving.
Okay, so it's like Macy's Day Parade.
Yeah, it's that type of thing. And then what gets done, the whole parade is shot, and then there's a whole bunch of performances by A-list performers doing Christmas medleys and stuff. And that's either recorded at the recording studio for Associated Television or on the street. And then it gets mixed and it gets made into a 2-hour TV special on the CW. And
that's right, the CW Warner Bros. That's right.
Yeah, and it's their most watched holiday special every year. So it's
super cool. I mean, I love watching it. I mean, CW is amazing. All the superhero shows too.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's really good. And so now I'll talk to you, more when we're done with this interview here, just when we can make sure we can connect up and. Because
we'll talk in the Quantum Leap waiting room when it's not live.
Exactly. But anyway, so it's a really good activity that we're doing on this thing to be able to have these types of activities that we're able to support the winners, the artists, the genre, that whole thing there. So we're very excited about that.
Not just sci-fi, but also fantasy as well and stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly. Now I've got another thing with Book Trip. They're doing a whole promotion for Writers of the Future coming up for the event at 2:00. So I'm not sure we can either resume or we can just call this.
Yeah, we could wrap up here and talk for a couple minutes on the Quantum Leap Radio. No problem, man.
That sounds good. So I really appreciate being invited here. I wasn't sure how long it was going to be, so I scheduled another one for Book Trip because they're I think they're in UK, and we'll make sure that we can get that done too, because I'm a publisher. I got to sell books.
Yeah, for sure. Well, John, I want to thank you, and I thank you, the fans, by the way, for joining us as well on this broadcast. And I look forward to seeing you on April 16th down there in Hollywood, California. Hope everybody had a good time here. We got a lot of people chiming in, military veterans, you name it.
Yeah.
But I'll let you get going, but I want to talk to you on the back burner. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
You as well, brother. I'll talk to you here soon.
Okay, great.